Let's get into Gen V.
Yeah, let's fucking do it.
Shit. Wait, where was I?
So was the last episode was the last one for the season?
Yes, I believe so. When Homelander shows
Yeah.
up. If you didn't know that, it's in the preview anyway for the next episode. But Gen V just finished up, and we meet the new Soups. They're at a university. If you haven't watched it, so it's about college. These superheroes that go to a superhero university, and basically they uncover this whole like crazy conspiracy testing program that they have going on beneath the campus, and basically you find out that the students aren't actually being taught. They're
being studied.
They're
not studying. They're being studied.
Yeah, they're not studying. They're being studied by the government, and
I think
the superpowers. A lot of them had the guy in the beginning who gets knocked off. I think he had like one of the cooler superpowers. But,
the flame dude, right? Yeah.
But everybody else was kind of like pretty basic to me. I don't know. It was kind of like.
So the main character, at first I thought her shit was dumb.
Yeah.
I thought her power was stupid. But then the tie-in towards the end, when you find out that senator or whatever she is has the same power, that's how she knows.
Yeah.
And then
There are some spoilers.
This ties back into Avatar a little bit. Waterbenders are cool, but it's like for the most part mundane.
Yeah.
But then you find a bloodbender.
Yeah.
And it's like a forbidden art. So this girl, to me, was like, oh, shit, she's a bloodbender.
Yeah, so the main character has a power where she can basically control blood.
Yes.
Like, not just her own,
it's
but
part
other
of her.
people's, too.
It's part of her tragic story because she accidentally kills her mom and dad as a result.
They show it, too.
Yeah.
It's in the beginning, she
has her
realizes she has her
period.
period. And then she realizes, oh, shit, I can make the blood float. And then the mom, she freaks out.
Yeah.
The mom comes into the bathroom like,
To try to help out.
Are you okay? And then she's freaking out because the blood's floating in the air, and all of a sudden turns into a spike.
It's like slits her throat. Yeah.
Right through the mom's neck. Then the dad comes up.
Like, what the fuck's going
What's
on?
going on? What's going on? She's like, I don't know. And
Yeah.
then freaking like a blood spike grenade goes off and fucking kills the dad.
And then the sister is like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So that's the main character's motivation, is like to become a superhero, to make her sister not proud, but like to
get
a hold of her sister to try to reunite.
Yeah, that's her weak spot, is wanting to reconnect with her sister, who basically she never saw after that happened.
I thought the characters, like, although originally I thought they were made like, oh, this is just to be a talking point, like the gender switching character.
Yeah.
I thought that was super cool, in a way to, like, I know the way Hollywood writers write, they want to appeal to separate markets.
Yeah.
But I think that was a clever way to do it.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, I'm trans. It was like, no, this character really is
Like
has separate. Yeah.
Yeah. She can become a guy.
Same thing
or
with
a girl.
the anorexic chick, or I don't know what to call that. Bulimia. I don't know.
Yeah, she's
but she gets bigger when she eats and smaller when she yaks.
Yeah.
And that's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
But it made it more, not realistic, but believable.
Yeah.
That there's like a downside to all these powers. It's not just all good. Like the blood one, because when she found out she had to cut herself every time. And then the gender switching one, she had to, or they had to hide that they were one or the other from both the parents and like a lot of people at first. And then the bulimic chick had to like obviously hide that.
Yeah. And her mom gives her like image issues, obviously, right? Like, oh, you're eating too much. Like, stop eating so much. And that's why she never actually finds out she can grow when she eats.
Yeah.
Until like later in the show, because she's always been taught to like not eat much, drop weight, and then shrinking was her like main thing. But then she realized she could grow. So
remember that scene? There's a scene where like there's a dude that makes her shrink to like jack him off by like.
I don't know how that would be a good thing. Like, I'd be like, this is like, there's no.
No, I'd be like, get She-Hulk size, please.
Yeah.
I want to wrestle.
Amazon action.
No, but there's like in typical The Boys type fashion, there's some like super grotesque out of no.
You see dicks like full on penis
and an exploding dick at one point, and you're like, oh god.
Yeah.
So like there's they hit the ground running with that. I think they already knew that you went into this knowing what The Boys are, so you knew that there was going to be a lot of like gore or over sexualization of stuff. Like, remember that detective dude that likes to fuck trees or something like that?
That shit was like funny, dude.
It's so weird.
Anything with holes, basically.
Yeah.
It was like,
that was his like secret fucking thing.
At the end, when he like looks at the hole in the tree and he's like,
I'll catch it.
I'll catch up later. You guys go ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool powers that they showed. They did a pretty good job, I would say, of like hiding. You knew the Dean was evil.
Yeah.
Like you knew, but you didn't know how she fit in.
Yeah.
And they kind of like made you sympathetic towards her when you figured out why she was like that. And then like, I think in the end, the bad person ended up being who you thought was one of the good guys, right? Like I think if you were to say who's the villain in this, it'd probably be the girl, right? Like the touch girl.
I don't know, Ashley. I mean, I think she was just trying to protect them in a certain sense.
No, but at the end she was like, no, we're going to kill all of them. And if you're not against me, I'm going to switch your mind to do it.
Yeah. That's a scary power to think of too. Like, and then she could, obviously when she wasn't taking the pill, she could like hear other people's thoughts and stuff like that too. So that was kind of a trip. I think she was definitely got a strong power when basically she could mind manipulate you. She would literally tell guys like, you're gonna do this and then go kill yourself.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah, they
like he would
she
shoot
did that a couple times. Yeah.
You're gonna eat your own hand too.
And you could hear the guy
like just eating his own hand. So crazy shit like that. But I mean, it ties more into The Boys at the end of the episode, obviously with what's his name showing up, the main like protagonist guy in The Boys.
Well, there's
the Australian dude or whatever that shows up at the end. So the guy, the Wolverine looking motherfucker. You know what I'm talking about? He was like the main guy in The Boys. He was like the main villain in The Boys, not Homelander.
Homelander was the villain.
The guy going after Homelander.
Oh, he ain't Australian. He's American as fuck. The guy that holds the Captain America shield?
No, dude. Come on. The main character guy. I just farted. The coffee is hitting, bro.
Oh, fuck.
Your turn. You're in it now.
Nebula. That's a fucking nebula. Oh, Lord. That was good, bro. That was good.
I got you good, you fucker.
You fucker.
Butcher. Thank you, Butcher.
Yeah, dude. Butcher is the fucking... Well, he's both the protagonist and the antagonist.
He's like the main protagonist in the first Boys.
But he's also the fucking... He's not a bad guy.
He's not a bad guy, but he's seen as like the bad guy because he's against the hero, the Seven. And the Sevens are... I know they're not the good guys, but they're seen in the public of the show, like the people's eyes of the show, they're seen as the heroes, right? And he's the guy,
I don't remember
anti-hero.
Butcher showed up in Gen V?
Yeah, he shows up at the very end.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
At the very end, he walks down into the woods area. You see him go into the door of the woods. And he's like, cocksucker. He says something like cocksuckers or motherfucker.
Yeah, because they had whoever that spook lady is, they had her in there talking to both the dean and the senator at some point.
Right.
And you assume that she's been communicating with Butcher.
Yeah.
Who else did they have that tied in? Homelander. Homelander was stupid when he arrived. That was dumb.
Yeah, it was really quick.
Yeah.
But
and then he like blasts her, and then
because he thinks she's the bad guy.
Yeah.
But it turns out it was the mind chick and the escapees that were kind of killing everybody.
But didn't the news paint them as the hero or something like that? Like,
it painted them as the cut, and then they showed the news brief at the end, and they actually pin the murders on them.
On the blood guard, and then they're in like a room with no walls or something like that.
No doors, yeah. So, yeah. So we'll see what happens from there. But
who else did they have tie in? They had.
I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. You know.
Yeah, from the smell of it. But they had the publicist girl. She was in it. The director guy, who I think is a real director or something, or he's a stand-up comedian or something. I know his face from something else. Who else did they have tie in? They had Superboy or something like that. I forget what the name of the guy with the shield is, but he was in there. They had the League, the Aquaman guy, show up a couple times. Who else? Yeah, just the senator, I think, was the last person. Did they even have Maeve? No, they didn't have Maeve show up. But yeah, they had some good tie-ins. I liked when they alluded to it more than they showed it. Like I said, when Homelander came, it was kind of a letdown. Like, he came in to like kind of wreck shop on these like students, and he did briefly. Like, when he came down, everyone was like, "Oh shit!" Like, "Ooh, we're in trouble." And then he like laser eyes the main character, and then when they wake up, she is alive, but they didn't like show it hit her or anything, so I didn't know if it was actually even real. Which, who knows, it could still be fake. Maybe they're inside of like the brain girl's power, like her little separate dimension that she has. But yeah, I don't know. Other than that, the show's I thought the show was pretty good overall. It was super entertaining. I don't know if it was like good in terms of like the writing or anything, because I felt like it started off better than it finished. It felt like the ending was a little rushed. There was still like for the first at least like 4 episodes, there was a lot of like, still felt very much like whodunit and sort of thing, like where you're like, oh, I'm not really 100% sure, but I think I know who the bad guy is, and I think I know how this is gonna wrap up. There's some little like, there's a little bit of kind of Scooby-Doo-ish, right? A bunch of kids trying to solve a bigger problem, and you think you kind of know how it's gonna go, but there's a couple twists. But in the end, it was, yeah, I think it wrapped up too fast. It set up a lot, like the first like I said, 4 episodes. It was very good at like, would you say that the first like, I felt like the first like 4 episodes were better than the last like 2 or 3, because like there was still, I was saying it's like kind of Scooby-Doo-ish, where like you think you know, like you pretty much know who the bad guy is, but like there's enough little plot twists that it throws you off guard.
I really liked the episode where Maddie, who's the mind control chick,
when she has that little pocket universe in her brain.
Yeah, when they go into her brain and they kind of like see all their flaws and stuff like that. When they get into that, I like that. I like that episode. I love that. What's it like? The Captain America guy shows up and he's like such like an asshole.
Yeah,
and, like,
he was like, "Oh, I was here just like I taught her how to flick her bean or something like that."
Yeah, he was like her. Obviously, she had a crush on him.
Yeah.
When she was a teenager or whatever. So he's been. Basically, they go into this this girl's mind, and she's having like a seizure, right? But she pulls them like all into her brain, and basically, it's one of those things where like, if you die in her head, you're dead in real life too.
That's why I think that what they alluded to, being in that room with no walls, might be that.
Oh.
That's what I like. I'm not. That's just like me being fucking weird and thinking like, oh, maybe it's
no.
this.
That's a cool little like tangent thought. You know, like maybe they're stuck in a mind control thing.
Yeah.
You know,
I liked Shetty's character. Shetty was like the dean.
I love how her name was Shetty.
Yeah. Like, you're acting real Shetty.
Her name was Kate in the show. That's right, Kate Dunn.
But like Shetty,
they always say like, we got to get to Shetty's house. Like, and you're thinking shitty, right? Like, like you're like, she's shitty. Like,
but they did. I think that was a cool like plot dynamic where they like.
That's another tie into The Boys too, because her parents died on the flight
that Homelander and Maeve
were
fucking
on.
wrecked. Yeah.
Basically they crashed the plane.
Yeah.
Or they let the plane crash.
And I think that was good enough. They didn't have to have Homelander come in at the end as like this like weird, you guys are in trouble figure. I didn't think they needed that.
It was a typical Homelander fashion kind of thing. I think it was just enough because they needed him to like rescue them, right? Like that's the reason he showed to rescue the like corporate executive people, right? But he also shows that when he shows up, he still fucks things up because he attacks the wrong person.
Yeah.
You know, like the girl, like she was trying to help save people. They all were. And Homelander goes after them.
I didn't like that they didn't show it. That's why I think because they didn't show the attack. Like they show him doing laser eyes and then she gets hit, but you don't see it.
Yeah.
And then she wakes up. And so I think because they didn't show that part, that may be.
But it shows how strong she is too. She took a full-on eye blast from Homelander.
Yeah.
Because whenever he did that to someone, usually they were fucked.
Yeah.
Like they would explode. So if she could withstand that, then they said it too. They go, "You took that hit. You took that
like a
hit like a champ." Yeah. So, she's Marie Moreau in the show, played by Jazz Sinclair. I liked her character. I thought it was like a good story to like play off of.
She's pretty hot too.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't hurt.
Definitely help.
But all the main characters, I really liked the build up to the main characters.
Yeah, they all had like their own internal genre. The
guy who plays Sam is pretty nuts too. Like he did such a good job.
I wish they did more with that puppet aspect thing because I thought that was going to be part of his power / mental illness. Like I didn't know. Like obviously it's how he sees things, but it doesn't like there's no consistency as when that happens. So I also just like seeing shit like gore in kind of Sesame Street style.
That was a great scene where it's like Muppets fight. Like he's like ripping people apart. And it's like glitter and glitter coming out of him. Like,
and then they show the real like aftermath, and it's just like fucking legs and arms akimbo, like fucking blood everywhere.
So just so people in the audience know, this guy Sam has been one of the people locked up in this like test containment center.
He's the main. So he was Luke's brother,
right? So the head honcho like preppy boy, like #1 superhero dude at the university, basically that's his little brother, but his little brother is held in this like testing facility below the campus. So he goes psychotic, right? Because he's locked in a room and stuff, so he's kind of crazy. So he occasionally sees like people in Muppet form, like they're Muppets. So like, and then he'll have visions of people talking to him that aren't really there. But there's one scene where they got to catch him because he escapes. And these cops show up. They sent
a whole like SWAT team after him.
And the SWAT team is made up of Muppets, right? Because he's having these visions of these people, and they're all Muppets. But they have a whole sequence where the Muppets are. He's a Muppet, and he's destroying all these other like SWAT team Muppets. But he's ripping them apart. But when he rips them apart, it's just confetti and like glitter and all that shit just coming out of their bodies. But then you see where it flashes to hit real life, and it's real human bodies just like shredded.
I think that was a cool dynamic too because his older brother, the one that's in the college, his girlfriend Kate is wiping both of their minds. Yeah. One, so Luke doesn't remember. She tells him that his brother's dead.
She can erase people's memories
or persuade their thoughts.
Right.
Because then she would go down to the woods and tell Sam like to forget it. So then he was locked in this like loop where he like didn't know if he was crazy and like which made him crazy. And
he didn't know what was real and what wasn't.
I thought that was super cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the dynamic of like Shetty influencing Kate when she was young because she felt like abandoned and like a freak. Mm-hmm. So she influenced her when she was young. So there was kind of like a motherly bond. Like she really did care for her at the end, even though she was using her to fucking kill mutants or super exactly
fulfill her mission in the end. But she did like she looked into she has it able to like touch you and read what you're thinking or see your thoughts, and they did have an intense conversation, and she goes, "You really do love me."
Yeah, like, and then she still fucking murked her.
Yeah, she still. basically
kill
makes her
herself, right?
pick up a knife and slit her own throat, which is kind of crazy.
And I like the what was his name? Polarity. I like the dynamic between Polarity and his son. And the son is like, "Fuck you, you're a fake ass hero." Like because he was one of the 7 too.
Right.
And then Polarity's just doing it to set his son up. He wants his son to be number 1. Like, so when Luke goes out, he's like, "Hey, you're fucking up. Like, make sure you're number 1 so you
PR
get into the 7." Yeah.
And everything. Just
and turns
he's
out
his PR agent. Basically.
Turns out he was like fucking. He had like his brain was fried every time he used his power.
He didn't want to use his powers because it basically causes like tumors in his brain.
Yeah. And so like originally the son was like, "Fuck you, you fucking fake." And then when he finds out that his dad was like pretty much dying, he was like, "Oh, whoopsie."
And it gives him the realization too that he has to be careful using his powers because if it's genetic, the same thing could happen to him. So it's kind of a crutch now for him where like you can't just use this power whenever you want necessarily. I think he has to be careful how and when he uses it so he doesn't damage his brain, you know. So not that we know if that happens yet, but because he doesn't seem to show any obvious symptoms. But he definitely like thought about it a little bit because the doctor goes up. His father ends up in the hospital after an episode, and the doctor
he has a
asks
seizure.
him, "Hey, do you have any?
Do you have any lightheadedness?" And he's like, "Don't we all?"
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah. You may want to keep an eye on that. I thought the cast was really good.
Yeah.
It was a good little like split off from the show, I think, like something different.
Yeah, it was like its own thing, but also there was tie-ins, and that's cool. Like you definitely know, you have a good feel of like what time it's happening in.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's still not all the way at the same time as the normal Boys continuity.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit in between. So I think that's cool.
Yeah, is it after? It's after The Boys, though, right? It's after the last season of The Boys, I think. It takes place after that.
No, I don't think so because
they're trying to find a new person to get into the 7, right? They're basically
so that just happened though. Like the member of the Invisible Guy like just blew up, so it's happening.
Guy?
Yeah, no, not Noir. Remember the Invisible Guy?
Yeah,
the guy that they like blew up from within.
Oh yeah.
He just died, so they're trying to fill that spot.
Okay,
so it's somewhere, you know what I mean, somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
I think the only thing I was confused of is what the Jordan Lee's character, what their powers actually were. They said they are like the best, the number 1, but they never said like what they do.
Right.
It seems like force field related, but it seems like they could go toe to toe with anybody.
He can shoot like waves of energy or something, right? Or
but it wasn't really
they can shoot.
It didn't define it. It was just like boom, and then they could like go toe to toe with anybody.
But obviously Sam seems to be the most powerful, I think, out of the group.
But he's just like raw brute strength, right?
Yeah.
That's why I was like, Golden Boy was cooler because he was fucking fire, like Human Torch.
He was that plus fire. And he kills himself.
The fuck is Jason Ritter? I don't remember that guy.
Jason Ritter. Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to figure that out too.
Or maybe he's the floating glasses. He's the son of.
Oh, is he?
I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, because he does show up kind of early, right? Oh, he's the newscaster guy.
Oh, yeah, fuck that guy.
Okay, yeah, he doesn't have a big role.
Oh, dude, the fucking... Oh, it was so sick. The Deep's puppet had the gills thing, too.
Yeah.
Ew, and they, like, zoomed in on it. They always
do the...
Gross.
Yeah, I hate when they show the gills, like, stuff. It's so weird. But, yeah, basically, yeah, good little tie-ins here and there. It was its, like, own show, so you don't
Soldier
necessarily...
Boy, that's the guy's name.
Yeah, Soldier Boy comes in a lot.
Yeah.
They reference him quite a bit, at least in the beginning. No mention of Stormfront, who ends up being like the Nazi in the show.
No, they didn't mention Maeve at all.
Yeah.
A-Train they did show when he still had his powers. So they were talking to him like in an interview.
Like he was still the fastest man on Earth, I think, right? In that time in the story, which you find out in the boys that he loses that ability.
You know who I thought they were going to introduce?
He has like a heart attack every time.
Remember Elizabeth Shue, like the one that had the breast milk for Homelander.
Oh yeah.
So, but I thought they were going to bring her.
so did the breast milk.
Yeah.
Kamiko was an awesome character.
Yeah.
And so was Frenchie, but yeah,
it's
gonna be interesting to see where the Gen V and the boys tie in, because there's got to be. I think there's got to be another season of the boys coming up eventually.
Yeah, but I think they're not gonna have them converge. I think they're gonna have them like almost come and then like drift off to their own thing, like, because that's got to be impossible. Because the boys, I think, like, from what I understand, there's only so many.
Weren't they replacing Starlight?
I don't know,
because they mentioned Starlight because she leaves, right? Annie January, the girl who plays Starlight, I think she leaves. I think they mention
at the end.
Do you want to take Starlight's place or the Invisible Guy's place? I think they gave because they were looking for new ones to replace, right? And so they were talking about
no, but the Invisible Guy didn't. He was way before Starlight.
Was he?
Yeah.
Him. Oh,
they killed him within the first like 3 episodes.
They do mention her leaving the 7 though at one point.
Well, she leaves the 7 at the end of the last boy season.
Yeah.
So
maybe it's right around there, but I don't know. But yeah, check it out, guys. Gen V, if you haven't seen it yet, pretty rad. Dope.
It's super, just like with the boys, super gory, intense sexual.
Not as much as the boys. Though.
Yeah, not as much as the boys. But
I mean, the superhero orgy was kind of next level. But
or the exploding. Why do they all got exploding dick shit, dude?
No, that was a different episode.
No, that was, remember he was inside the dick.
Yeah, but that was just the one encounter. But the orgy was like all the.
No, I know, but like, what I'm saying is like, this show has an exploding dick. They had like the boys had an exploding dick like that. There's always an exploding dick, man.
No, the Invisible Guy, Huey, right? No. He was never in the 7, right? He was the.
No, Huey's just a regular.
He could disappear though.
Oh shit! Now he can, yeah, because he started taking the V. Yeah.
So you find out too in the boys that these kids were actually injected.
Yeah, by their parents.
Gen V thing by the parents, and basically they were like test subjects for this new drug that was supposed to like enhance your abilities.
Yeah, but they never told him.
But then they end up getting superpowers, and it obviously has some negative side effects.
So that's what Kate was telling them. Like, they shouldn't feel bad because their parents did this to them. Like, they weren't willing participants.
That was a recurring theme, was that like one of the characters basically didn't know she had the powers, but she grabs her little brother's hand and tells him, "Go away and never come back." And because she didn't realize she had that mind control power, he actually does. He runs off.
And then the parents hate her forever and think she's a freak. All right, and the main character kills her
parents.
Yeah.
And
which is crazy, dude. I think that's right.
So a lot of them end up killing like people they love because they just didn't realize they had the power and how to control it at the time. But yeah, check it out. I'd highly recommend checking out The Boys if you haven't seen that show yet. It's really good.
Don't read the comics though. Like, well, I mean, like, read it if
you're
you want,
sensitive to like sexual stuff and
it's the comics are twisted,
like gore, like quite a bit of like gore. There's no
shortage
fucks
of
given.
Yeah, not. But the comics are way more twisted sexually too. So
yeah. And there's a lot of comedy to it, though, too. It doesn't take itself too seriously.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah.
It's still kind of like a comedy at heart, but it's also...
Oh, I don't think it's a comedy. I think it's a dark spin on superhero tales that
dark
is funny
comedic
in
superhero story. Because
I can see that.
There's a lot of joking. There's a lot of, like, sarcasm. There's a lot of, like... It kind of makes fun of itself.
Yeah.
A little bit, you know? And of course, the superheroes would be controlled by like a mega corporation.
Yeah,
Right?
I think overall that's the biggest narrative is
Yeah.
that like it's corporations fucking with people's lives.
Yeah.
Yeah,